All right, I'm going to get right into it. I took three trades today. They were pretty much all bad. Today was a psychological failure. Trading wise, I guess I had the right idea, but the focus really should be on the psychological aspect. But I want to go over the technical aspect first. We just came out of a daily bearish fair value gap. We hit that early in the AM right here. We had CPI data at 8:30, and we actually put in a lower high, so that initially set me off for at least some sort of bearish context. And so that's kind of how I was viewing the morning. I didn't get in any trades here. My hope was that this would have pulled back into VWAP here, and I could have taken a short position there, but let that play out. We broke below the overnight low, and my thesis here was originally we had a 15-minute we had a 15-minute fair value gap around this area as well. So my initial idea was that we were going to get a retrace into this breaker and a 15-minute fair value gap for an entry short. But as we were kind of slowing down here at the overnight low, I started to get a little bit unsure about my position. And what ended up happening was I hopped in early. My initial trade, I hopped in early. I wasn't patient enough for it to actually come up into the breaker and into the fair value gap that I was expecting it to. And what happened was I got stopped out pretty quick. Unfortunately, with CPI data, these candles are significantly bigger than usual. So my stop, my $250 stop, was fine in the beginning, but I really wanted it to be above at a certain candlestick or so I had to extend my stops a little bit. Long story short, I got in too early, so I got stopped out. I was still pretty convinced that that we were headed down. And in hindsight, it was the right analysis, but it was the wrong entry. And then immediately afterwards, this is where the first bad decision came in. Obviously, this is a manageable decision. You're going to lose trades, but this one was an impulse decision. I immediately lost this position, impulsed into another trade, basically the exact same trade, but just with a deeper stop. Sure enough, got stopped out here. In hindsight, what I was looking at with this particular trade was it looked like we were building up a lot of stops here, myself included. I was a part of those stops. And that this move right here, this kind of impulse to stop out the trades, hit this breaker. We displaced away from this, had a couple of displacement candles, had a market structure shift right here. And that market structure shift should have been an indication that we were headed back down. And then in a perfect world, had I taken a decent trade, this is actually a fair value gap here. And what do you know, that entry would have been pretty decent. You could have entered on this fair value gap and put your stop above this candle that created the fair value gap. And I could have probably targeted the this low right here. That would have worked out pretty well. I'm upset mostly about the impulse decision to get in impulsively, not the entry short, because I still think the higher time frame analysis was correct. It was just when I got down to the 5-minute, when I got down to the 1 minute, I wasn't patient enough. I didn't wait for my setup on the lower time frames to show my entries. So got to work on that. And then as far as the emotional state, obviously I was kind of beating myself up over this. I got off of my primary account that I was trading on. I switched to another account, and as we got down here, I don't know. I think I started to experience a little bit of FOMO again, because again, the higher time frame analysis was correct, and I was basically watching these moves play without me, and I think that's where the FOMO started to set in. So at least recognizing where that's happening and understanding, I think it's a result of having okay medium to higher time frame analysis, but just having poor executions on the lower time frame. But I ended up chasing down here, and this is incorrect. That is supposed to be a short position. I chased and I took a short position here, and then I ended up getting stopped out. But that was chasing. There's no explanation for this. This is FOMO and this is chasing. And I even put a little WTF are you doing, bro? This was on my one of my other accounts that I hadn't traded yet. So this was just a stupid decision. I'm not going to overthink this. Just like don't FOMO. Start to focus on keeping my emotions at the time under control. But in hindsight, a couple of things that I was looking at here. I've been trying to work on my projections, and one of the things that I think Arjo had talked about it on YouTube, but the idea that if you have this area, like this manipulation leg here at the bottom for a turnaround, I put my fib levels right here, basically from the beginning of this leg down, this manipulation leg down, and then I have these projections, these standard deviation projections at 1, 2, 2.5, and then 4. And it's interesting to see how that played out for this play. And I think had I not been kind of in this fear of missing out state at the bottom here, I could have seen something interesting. So we did have liquidity building up a little bit here and a little bit of liquidity building up here. And now these people got stopped out with this manipulation leg. And then we had decent sized... I'm going to remove this for a second. We had decent sized displacement candles away and actually had a market structure shift up here where we broke that high. But what I was keeping an eye on, so this, I like these displacement candles. They show me that I can draw an order block right here with those displacement candles. And that order block actually would have been a perfect entry for this because we had a couple of areas of stops. We had a manipulation leg that took out those stops, displacement away after taking stops, or taking these liquidities, displacement away from it, a shift of structure into a bullish structure, a retrace back into the order block that created the displacement. This would have been really great entry. And I guess what he's talking about, that at least for the standard deviations, I think the goal would be something along the lines of you get in right off the order block, you put your stop right below the lows here, and then you target, I guess one standard deviation would be, one standard deviation would be already almost like 3.5 risk to reward ratio. So that could have been something that I've seen. In hindsight, you could have targeted way more than that. Up to, I think, 4 now, or almost up to 4. I'm not going to go that high, but at least 2.5, which is a 7 risk to reward ratio. But keep it simple, at least for like, this is a 3.5. That's a really great trade. But obviously this is hindsight. But again, I wanted to show at least how the emotions are playing into like my decision making. Today psychologically was a loss, but again, I'm making these videos to try to be transparent, keep myself accountable so that I can at least have like a video journal to remember how these emotions are getting to me and how I need to start being a little bit more understanding of them and what role they play in my trading. So really interesting things to discuss. Monetary wise, yeah, I lost some money today, but the goal is to try to learn from my mistakes and to grow every day. And, it's tough to do this stuff. It's tough to put yourself out there on YouTube. It's tough to film this. It's tough to be live, streaming your trades. I'm still figuring out how to do this. I don't know how to day trade. That's kind of the whole point of this, me posting these videos is so I can learn how to day trade. So, putting myself out there, it's tough. It's brutal to kind of have yourself on blast for all the internet trolls. There's a lot of really positive people that comment, and I'm really grateful for you guys. But there's still a lot of people out there that just God bless them. I doubt every single person that has a negative comment on my videos is profitable. So that's interesting to kind of get that take. But I'm doing this to journal my own trades, to show what my trading journey looks like, and it's not pretty, but it's real. So you guys can take it or leave it. And if you guys are still here watching my stuff, I appreciate you guys, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. See you guys next time. Peace.